Now to a major case of voter fraud, an actual case that was prosecuted. We hear a lot of noise from election deniers about so-called fraud, but it does exist. It's rare, but it happens. In this case, the wife of an Iowa political leader now faces more than 50 counts of voter fraud in an alleged scheme to help her husband win 2 different political races, allegedly preying on those who spoke little to no English. Kim Fong Taylor of Sioux City is the defendant. You see here with her husband, Jeremy Taylor, a Republican county supervisor, as he's sworn in after winning one of those races in 2020. She faces 52 federal charges after being indicted for illegally generating votes for her husband, first in his failed run for Congress that year, and then his bid for the Woodbury County Supervisor, a race he actually won. Taylor faces 26 counts of providing false information in registering and voting, 3 counts of fraudulent registration, 23 counts of fraudulent voting. The indictment alleges that Taylor preyed on members of the Vietnamese community in Sioux City who had limited ability to read and understand English, offering them help to vote. She then allegedly had them fill out voter registration forms and absentee ballot requests, and in certain cases, the indictment says, filled them out herself, then took the forms and either mailed them to the county auditor's office or placed them in the county's ballot drop boxes. Taylor also allegedly signed absentee ballot requests and ballots for people who weren't even present, or told people they could sign for family members who weren't there. Her scheme resulted in dozens of voter registration absentee ballot forms and absentee ballots containing false information, according to the DOJ. Her scheme was finally busted by the Woodbury County auditor, who had his suspicions, but he only acted after he was contacted by a person who said a ballot had been fraudulently cast in their name.
What they had was a stack of ballots there that were written in, and this is the first time I've ever seen this, when all the, you could tell by looking at them that they were all filled out by the same person.
Gill notified the Secretary of State's office, and his office later provided the FBI with evidence of suspected fraudulent registration forms and absentee ballots. Taylor has pled not guilty to the charges, which carry a penalty of 5 years each. Her husband, Jeremy, meanwhile, has not been charged in the case, but Gill says he would often see the two during the time in question.
When I would leave sometimes in the evening, I would see Kim Taylor putting ballots in the box, and Supervisor Taylor was in the vehicle when that was taking place. That's a fact, I can tell you.
Joining us now is William Morris, courts reporter for the Des Moines Register. Thanks very much for coming on the program. Appreciate it. All right, so this guy's elected now to the County Supervisors Board. Do these charges put his election in jeopardy?
I don't believe so. Looking back at the 2020 election results, he won his race by nearly 2,000 votes, and I don't think there's any indication that anywhere near that many ballots were affected by this.
So the auditor said he had his suspicions before he even got the call from the voter. Do we know why?
He told in this press conference, he said that he was contacted by some precinct election officials who had also noted the similar signatures, and that sort of raised a red flag, but that was not until they got this report from actual voters who said that they had not received their ballots, but that ballots had been cast in their name, that they had enough to take action.
Do we know what her defense is?
We've not seen any filings yet in the court case indicating how she plans to defend these charges.
Now, the husband, Jeremy, not being charged in the case, but you heard the county auditor there suggesting that there might be more to the story?
Yeah, I heard that, and we reached out to him after these charges were announced and did not hear back. I don't know that he's made any other public statements. Whether or not he was in the car or something like that is very different from whether he'd actually have criminal liability.
Right.
The requirement to have some intent. You would have to need a lot more evidence in that to prove it. But as I said, we've not heard any statement from him. So I don't know yet what position he's going to take on this.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.